Good morning, everybody. So we got John, you do it, is in the house. We got Mike times two, Mike Whaley, and Never Let the Machines Win. Hope everybody is doing well this morning. We had a awesome night last night at the stage, playing on the rooftop, and it was a packed house. They weren't big tippers, but it was a big crowd, and they were a lot of fun. So sometimes there's more to it than making a lot of money. Hope everybody's hearing me all right. Stream health looks decent. Morning, Mr. Buttram. Ryan's in the house. Oh, I didn't stop the... There, okay. It doesn't like it when I let the preview video run at the same time as trying to stream. All right, let's get OBS back up over here so I can see that. And the popped out chat. Joe Paddock, good morning, sir. So work is going to continue on the jet today, although we may sidetrack from that in the near future here for a little bit. I don't know if it's going to come to fruition or not, but there's a guy talking to me about a possible commission in which I will 3D model this thing, and he is going to make molds of it and reproduce it. And so what we're talking about right now is he's going to pay me for the initial design and then a percentage of whatever his sales are from cast replicas. So if it works out, it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to design it, I'm going to print the first one, and I'm going to finish the surface of it so that it's smooth. So filling and sanding and all that kind of stuff. And then if it works out, he'll make molds off of those parts and cast them, and then give me a percentage of his sales. We're still in the very early stages of the discussion, though, so no need yet to jump on the design, even though I kind of want to. Yeah, I'm. It's one of those things where no money will change hands until I model it, print it, and finish it, and then he looks the parts over, or and then I send him pictures of the parts, and he tells me if they're going to be castable and if I need to make changes for them to be castable, and then I will mail them to him when he feels they're ready. And so, anyway, if that comes to be, then I will have to shift focus to that, because I told him it's going to take me some time because I don't do this full time. Morning, D. So yeah, I don't do this full time. I squeeze it in when and where I can. I mean, I haven't sat down at the computer to model anything in over a week. So he knows it's going to be a slow going process, and that's why our negotiations for how this thing's going to go can be slow as well. Excuse me. I got my coffee this morning, and then when the coffee runs out, I have orange juice. This is not an endorsement of the product, so I'll keep the label facing away. And then I have this aloe drink too. That's nice for a day after. So I've got beverages. I got beverages for the whole stream. I'm good. With that said, let's go to the screen share and look at the jet where we left it. This is chat back on top. This is where we left it. That's one of the problems about not doing this every day, is you forget where you left off sometimes, and it takes a minute or two to wrap your head around where you're at and what you got to do next. My coffee is not staying hot very long. It's already just warm. I need to get me one of those insulated cups that keep it hot forever. All right, so last time we worked on the canopy. We changed up the wings to make them slot in. So we need to make caps for that. Maybe that's what we'll do. That's what we'll start with. Good morning, Terry. Did you ever get a chance to get the Jeep finished? I know you were working on it, and you were close last I saw. I know you've been busy with a lot of other projects, so we're going to Shift D, move that along the Y. Excuse me. Little hoarse this morning after last night. Well, then last night was the sixth show of my work week is Thursday through Monday, so today is my Saturday, and I'm always a little bit hoarse after 6 shows. A little horse, that's a Shetland pony, right? Bad joke, I know. Everyone's like, no, don't go there. Actually, let's delete those two vertices. And let's connect these two. Not good comedy. I'm a musician for a living, not a comedian. Although I have been known to get my occasional laugh. Usually for something that I didn't think was going to be funny, and that's what turns out to be funny. Every time I try to be funny, I'm not. I'm totally not. And even when I think I'm being funny, my wife is there to remind me that you're not funny. You're not funny. And my wife, she's funny, but she worked in radio for 10 plus years. So we're going to extrude this along the Y just a little bit. Excuse me. Good morning, Matt/Jake. Thanks, Terry. Yeah, this is like the time of day that you head off to work, isn't it? I know when you're there for the J Talk streams, you're usually taking off pretty early into it. All right, so we'll turn those into the intake vents. And I will put just a little piece of the rail that slides in there, so it'll fill that gap when it goes in. And let's make that a different color right now so that we let's remove that. Actually, yeah. Let's make it that gray. It's no problem, man. You know, we all got our jobs to do. We got to go do them. I'm just very fortunate that I don't have to say I have to go to work. I say I get to go to work because I love what I do. Which this past weekend was the NFL draft in Nashville, and it was insane. I'm fortunate that I've been in town long enough now to know where all the cheap parking places are, because all the places I usually park, they were charging like $40 to park. I'm like, if I pay $40 for parking, I'm not gonna make any money. But I knew where to find $10 parking, which was much nicer. All right, so did I not save that? I didn't. Oh, speaking of saving, since this computer still likes to crash, I still haven't got on ordering parts for a new computer. I'm at that point right now where I'm almost wondering. I'm like, we're almost into May, and AMD's new chips are coming out in June. So maybe I should wait and see, if that's going to be a better idea. Let's hide the fuselage for a minute, because I need to get that rail. Excuse me. Hiccups this morning or something. I don't know. We hit Shift D to duplicate. Hit the Y key to slide it out a little bit, separate it from that piece. Hit P to separate it by selection. And then we have a separate piece that's just the profile of that rail. Can I hide that? Yeah, okay, it was in the way. They've actually started dropping the prices on some of the second gen Ryzen stuff, not the Threadrippers though. And so I'm still torn as to what to do. That's another part of the reason I haven't started the process yet. Yeah, that's. I think the what was it the 3 and the 5 have both come down a lot already, and then the 7's come down a little. It has come down a little. Let's see. We need to get this profile right on it first. So let's grab that. So many vertices. Because I went and made this rail too complicated. Just kind of eyeballing it right now. It's going to be fixed better when I slice it off. I need to get it close first. Yeah, draft weekend was insane. They initially had expected about 100,000 additional people each day downtown, and instead we had 200,000 additional each day downtown. It certainly got Nashville in the discussion for being able to host major events. Because no matter what they've tried to do in the past, the big cities, New York and such, still view Nashville as a small market. Although anybody who spent some time in Nashville knows that Nashville can be one of the biggest party cities in anywhere, pretty much. It's crazy. If there's one thing Nashville knows how to do, it's entertain. That's what the whole city was built on. Although I will lament the fact that Nashville used to be Music City and now it's becoming a sports city. And in turn is making a living out of music a little harder. I've seen major changes just in the time that I've lived here. You can barely call it Music City anymore. Ah, didn't want to do that. Music has become a like byproduct rather than the main attraction. And with all these bars opening, more and more bars, more and more stages, you would think having more places to play would be a good thing, but having more places to play is actually kind of watered things down a little bit, musically speaking. There are. I am not. Let me fix that. Let me save before I potentially mess all kinds of things up. So we go text editor, run script, back to 3D view, start display. You always there to keep me straight, Roy. I watched your video of I forget what it's called. It looked like tennis with weird rackets. I've thought about making rolling casters for the dumpster, and I may at some point. Coffee's gone. Onto the orange juice. Have a good day at work, Terry. Thanks for stopping by, man. Thanks for reminding me about screencasting the keys, Roy. I appreciate that. Because after all, that was the whole point of this channel, was that maybe other people could learn how to do stuff too. And it's easier for you to learn if you can see what I'm doing. Pickleball. Yeah. Well, you got a view on YouTube for it, because I watched. Excuse me. This kind of stuff isn't really exciting to watch, and I apologize. Just sliding a few vertices around. Excuse me. My gosh. Go ahead and bring that in farther. And then have to move that in just a bit to create a little bit of clearance. But that should fill that little gap there so it's not as noticeable, and give this something a little more solid to hold on to. We'll combine those two parts here in a minute. I don't remember if I did or not. I was watching on my phone, so if I didn't, I will rectify that. Because I always try to give my friends the thumbs up. Alright, let's bring the fuselage back in and see. This jet is going to be a monster to print, though, because I believe it's going to be pretty large. We still got the interior to do of the cockpit, the landing gear to do. Missiles. Yeah, I was peeking out there to make sure I'd put my trash can out. It's like, yeah, it's out. Okay, cool. It wasn't our trash company yet, anyway. It was the other one and they were picking up across the street. Yeah. Okay. But I'll try not to be too loud in the microphone if you get the sound up really high. mm. Yeah, I was never good at I used to draw stuff all the time. Um, Used to be a pretty decent, like, actual drawing artist. Really rusty now, but I never could draw jets or design jets very well, and I feel like that's carrying over a little bit in my 3D modeling. I'm not 100% happy with the design, but practice and whatnot. This will be my first one. Like go back and look at my first, like Jeep and stuff, and it's night and day from my second one. Which this upcoming potential commission project has me thinking about some things, because we were talking about that. I was shooting messages back and forth with the guy, and about aspects of the design, and it's got me wondering if I shouldn't practice a few of those aspects before I set in on this uh, project. Because one of the things that he's wanting to make it easier for casting purposes. It's got to be as few pieces as possible. So we're probably talking about single piece wheels and tires. The wheels and tires are one piece. Um, he was talking like the lower frame, having the axles as one piece already on the frame, and the interior built onto as part of the actual frame, and to kind of hollow out the seats and stuff. Um, Sort of like looking at a injection molded toy, and so it got me thinking a little bit about that stuff. I'm like, they would make it easier to assemble fewer pieces, save plastic, wouldn't be as detailed as far as options. Because one of the things I like about the crap, I'm trying to break it over here. One of the things I like about the stuff I've done to this point is, like, the seats can be printed in a different color than the floor pan, and these even have inserts into the seats and things like that. And while he said that stuff's cool, it's not going to lend itself well to casting if I have to cast 100 pieces just for the model. So we were talking about wheels and tires that are one piece, and the frame, the lower frame, having the axles as part of the lower frame, the interior as part of the frame, so that when he casts it, it'll just be, you pop out this lower half, and then the body be the upper part shell being as close to one piece as possible. Obviously, things like opening doors and things like that will have to be multiple pieces, but then so you'd have a lower shell and upper shell. You join the two together, some screw holes in them to run some screws in, snap the wheels on, and done. And so I may have to, before I even start on the commission, attempt to do that with something and see how that goes. Because it's also going to give me a better idea if I'm telling the guy if I'm going to be able to move forward with it or not. I think we should bevel that edge. What do you guys think? Bevel that edge, round that out a little bit. Morning, Matt Johnson. What do you think? Beveled? I think it seems to flow better with, since that's kind of rounded. And yeah, we're gonna go with that. True, although this isn't actually going to fly. Although I say that, and I would absolutely freak out if somebody used it to make a model that could. All right, we need to put some vent detail in here. So let's inset that. Let's extrude it along the Y and inset it a little. Trying to think what the best way to go about this is going to be. Let's inset this just a hair and then ring cut it. Do the ring cut. Let's ring cut it more than that. Yeah, that'll work. Good, I think. I think I need an odd number. Yeah. So I'm going to extrude that along the Y, just a hair. Just to give it a little texture. Oh, yay. Neighbors. Sometimes I wish I lived out in the country. There we go. Yeah, I'd rather listen to that than some of the things I have to listen to in this neighborhood. And it's a nice neighborhood, save for a couple houses. But those couple houses make enough noise to annoy us all. I hear my phone ringing. Hold on. I missed it, but she'll call back if it's important. All right. So I'll join that to the rail piece here in a little bit. And then we gotta start working on landing gear, interior, hinging the canopy. Yeah, coming on. Oh, good morning, Skolda. Sorry, I missed you sneaking in there. Morning, Robbie Mac. So what did you do on Twitter the other day that got you blocked? Who'd you get blocked by? So I think I'll have the rear landing gear. I'll cut that in here and have it swing out this way. So the front gear, rear. uh, Depends on the type of insects, really. You know. the the crazy thing about society today is that people are too easily offended. And if they're not directly offended, they know somebody who should be offended and they're going to be offended for them. I guess I'm a little old school when it comes to that sort of stuff. Like, I don't get offended by that kind of stuff. Yeah, people just they get offended over the smallest of things. It's a generational thing, I think. It's a generation that I don't understand. Maybe I'm not meant to. It's amazing to me sometimes how much the world has changed in the amount of time I've been here. I don't even consider myself to be that old. I mean, old enough. I do have a grandson now, but um, it just the things people get upset over. They had never made it when I was growing up. If they get offended over the things they get offended over now, I don't think I had a single gym teacher that didn't call us ladies. Especially once I got to high school. You had to you had to do something macho to get called men in gym class. Otherwise, it's pick it up, ladies. Gym coach did that nowadays. They'd be on the evening news. They'd lose their job. Everybody be talking about what a horrible human being they are, and that may be true, but toughen up a little bit. It's okay. It's not gonna hurt you. True. True. I you know you back again makes me sound old when I'm like back when I was a kid. Back when I was a kid, you didn't make the team just for showing up. You had to earn your spot. it took me until my junior year to finally make my high school baseball team. And even then, it was JV, and I wasn't a starter. I was the after the seventh inning or so defensive replacement for one of the guys that could hit. Which I'm not complaining about because I got to play at one point in time or another. I played all 9 positions on the field. Anything to get in a game. Wherever you want me, coach. Whatever you want me to do, I'm there. The only time after I did it, and I only did it for 2 innings, that I went back to the coach and I was like, yeah, I probably don't want to do that again. I played 2 innings of catcher. And I was like, no. And maybe that would have been different if we'd had pitchers that could throw strikes, get anywhere near the strike zone. But I spent too much time diving out of the crouch to keep the ball from going to the backstop. Like I don't want to do that anymore. He's not when he's pitching. Couldn't say that though because that was the coach's son that was pitching. And the kid threw hard. He just never threw strikes. It was like watching Major League. I was hearing Bob Uecker in my head, just a bit outside. Like at no point in time to catch a pitch should a catcher end up flat on his stomach 2 feet off the plate. All right. Oh, we haven't saved in a bit. Let's do that just in case. Just in case the computer decides to go no. All right. So we're going to set the sharp there. Yeah, and I can speak from experience in that 2 innings, even though you got all that gear on, the ball, when it bounces in the dirt and comes up, it doesn't always hit the gear. Nice bruise on my right inner thigh after that game. I was like, yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. It's beating me up. All right, so we decided that's where we're going to cut the landing gear in. So let's delete those faces. Rear landing door. People are reacting to a post I'm tagged in. I don't know what post that would be. Uh-oh. Well, that's no good. All right, let's try that. Better. Okay. It's funny how you catch yourself when you're trying to rotate, tilting your head as you rotate, like you're going to get a better view of it, rather than just the screen does all the tilting and rotating there is. But you'll find yourself your head tilting with it, going. Eh. All right, let's save that. So, okay, we'll have the rear landing gear open up from this door out this way. The front landing gear will open from this door this way. So we have our spots cut in. Now what I'm going to have to try to engineer is so that when the landing gear comes down, it's somehow maybe enough friction or something to keep it in place, and that it's going to have to be designed so that there's a catch on it so that when it comes down it stops where it's supposed to stop. That's an engineering problem for future me. All right, well, we made the... Yeah, maybe. I might have to do that. Although I will say... Where's that? Oh, here it is. The ratcheting joint is disappointing me a little bit now. It still clicks and holds, but it's definitely starting to wear out. And but now I've turned this a lot. I wonder if printing it in another material, or maybe I need to decrease my tolerances with it a little, just a hair. But it was so nice and like snappy and firm when I first made it, and now it's, I mean, it still snaps and stuff, but it's, you can tell it's a lot looser. Somebody was saying PETG would be more resistant to wear. I've got a roll PETG, but I've never printed with any. The one roll I got from the community ketchup thing, and at the time it was one of only 2 rolls in the wild, but I'm sure they've released it since, and it's all over the place in the public now. I was saving it to use for printer parts to print with, but then I was like, I'll wait till the tornado's up and use it to print it, since it, you know, I know it, I've been told that, you know, you're on the bed a little warmer and things like that, and I was like, the tornado heats up quicker. And then I got the tornado up and running, and then I've just been busy with other stuff. Because my initial plan at one point was to do the AM8 build to the A8. But more and more I've been thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't use the A8 very much. And it's got me considering maybe getting rid of it. So I don't know. I do probably 90% of my printing on the S4. The poor little Tronx EX1 that got me started hasn't printed in a couple months. It's literally gathering dust. Oh, great. Now somebody's mowing. All right, so yeah, I think, yeah, maybe ratcheting joints on that so it clicks out, and then some sort of stop so that when it gets to that spot it can't go any farther, and that could all be done internally. Oh, it's a mowing company, so it won't take long. Somebody's got too much money on their hands paying these mowing services. These mowing services around here have become insane. Had one knock on my door the other day. Want to know if we needed lawn service. And I'm like, how much? And they're like, $80 front and back. I'm like, $80? No thanks, I'll mow it myself. $80. And they bust out these big commercial grade mowers that mow the yard in like 5 minutes. I'm like, you can mow the yard in 5 minutes. You want $80 for 5 minutes? I'm in the wrong line of work. Although with my allergies, I could never survive being working on that stuff. I got allergies that are atrocious. I just think about mowing the grass and my nose starts running. I'm still kicking myself that I didn't buy that Anycubic Photon that popped up on Craigslist here locally a month or two back. It was $175. I just didn't have it to spare at the time. But part of me is like, you should have made it work. It was a good price. Mainly because when I get around to canopies, I'm going to have to rely on somebody else to print them for me. I guess I can try FDM printing it. Now it won't be see-through, but I at least test fit it that way. Oh, you got a Photon? Yeah, this one I was kicking myself, dude. It popped up on Craigslist. $175. The box was still sealed, never been taken out of the box. These people were like hard up to make rent or something, and they had a whole bunch of crap up for sale. And I waited one day too late. I saw it, and then I thought, no. And the next day I texted him about it, and he's like, printer's gone. He's like, but I still got electric razor scooter and a blah 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 blah. And I'm like, no, don't need any of that. I was just interested in the printer. Although Nova 3D's got a new one out now, or well, coming out I guess it's technically coming out in May because it says it ships in May. Nova 3D, the Bean 3, and it is a little bit larger build volume. It's see if I remember right, 140 by 70 by 170. Which is bigger than most of the smaller resin printers out there. So I don't know. It's also a little bit more expensive. It's like $700. But I was thinking, the size of this canopy, I may need something that prints a little bit larger. I don't know anybody with a Moai 200 yet. That would be the best one to get for my needs, but it would also be, it's also prohibitively expensive. It's like $3,000 plus shipping, and shipping on a 118-pound box. Would be absurd. I imagine it's at least a couple $100 to have it shipped on top of the $3,000 for the printer. So no, I don't see myself ever spending that much money on a printer. Although I had somebody telling me the other day that I need to design something and put it up on a Kickstarter, and do stretch goals with add-ons and upgrade kits and things like that. Because they sent me links to some other people who were designing 3D stuff and making thousands of dollars for their, it's just the STL files, and they're making thousands of bucks on Kickstarter. It's crazy. I'm like, I don't really see myself getting into that, but I don't know. That's one thing that I've been talking about with this guy on the commission. Part of my early agreement to do it is the STL files will become available to the public so people that 3D print can print their own. It's like, you can make your resin copies and sell those, you know. 3D printer online store tweeted. Buy Nutivo Tarantula Pro 3D printer. No thanks. Not interested. So yeah, part of my early negotiations with him is like, when I get done, I want to make the STL files available, just like I do all my other designs. He's not real keen on that right now, but I'm still talking it out over with him. But I'm like, look, it won't infringe upon what you're doing, because most the people that are in that market, your target crowd, most of them don't have a 3D printer. You're still going to have plenty of people to sell your resin copies to. And he fights me on it too much, I'll just go ahead and design the thing we've been talking about and put it out for the public and not do the commission with him. It's not like it's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money because he's also, talking about paying me residuals for what he sells. And that way keeping the initial design inexpensive. All right. I know I'm spending a lot of time just rotating around and looking at this right now, but that's the wheels are turning about how I'm going to put wheels inside this thing. The wheels are turning about the wheels. Just make a cylinder. Scale it down. Rotate it 90 degrees. Scale it down some more. Scale it down some more. Gives me a ballpark. modifier. So that'll put it back. And that's open about there. Make these a little bigger. And let's scale them in along the X. Whoops. Try the mirror first. Rotate. Rotate further. Okay, so we're gonna have to move this all down. Now I'm seeing it, I hate it. Solidify. Maybe instead I need to make the hinge points here and here and open them up that way, because that's what I hate about it. And then I wouldn't have to have the landing gear so low. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. But we're going to save for right now. All right, guys. Well, I got a phone call to return. So I'm going to hop off of here. We've been at this for an hour and 20 minutes. Today we made the intake vents and got them set up to slot in right in front of the wings. We worked on the landing gear, although I'm going to redo this. I don't like it. I hate it. So, going to redo it. Work will continue on the jet. We'll move forward with it on the next one. And appreciate you guys for hanging out as always. Appreciate everybody who's supporting the channel and making these things possible. Without you guys, I would lack the motivation that I have now. So I thank you guys for everything, and we'll see you in the next one. So y'all take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you on chat on other people's streams. Take care, all.